Studies suggest that children who live in stress-free environments may grow up to be adults with a lower risk of heart attacks than those who experience more difficult childhoods.
So we're looking for perfection here. Joining us on the Kogo News Live Line, heart disease expert and CEO of ViaScan, a company that specializes in early detection of heart disease, John Duncan. And how does this early life stress affect your heart later in life?
Well, I think this study points out that it's extremely important. We as parents always want the best for our children, and I think that this study points to a whole new dynamic that if we prepare our children properly for adulthood, then we're going to stress a healthy environment while they're children, because all adult diseases such as heart attacks and cancers really have the beginnings in the childhood.
So this study, what are the physiological effects of this, of stress on the heart?
Well, this study showed that we can now measure plaque, calcium deposits in your heart as small as 0.5 millimeters. So we really live in the golden age of preventive cardiology, that we have tools that we can see the very early beginnings of the disease before it causes a devastating consequence, such as a life-ending heart attack. And so now we're starting to study the relationship between these calcium deposits, and we're seeing that they start really in children, teenagers, and it determines what determines whether these plaques grow and become lethal is the environment that we live, whether it's a stressful environment, how much weight you have, what kind of diet you have, how much physical activity. So everyone's waiting for a cure for cancer and heart attacks, but until then, the two most powerful medicines in the world have already been discovered. It's food and physical activity.
Now, let's say that you had a stressful childhood, and didn't most of us? How can an adult compensate for that earlier stress?
Well, I think this study points out that if, again, we really focus on physical activity, if the parents are physically active, that serves as a very positive role model for the children. Just like when my kids were small, I took them out, we went for a walk, and as they got a little bit older, we went out for a jog, and now my children are physically active, and I'm jogging with my grandchildren. So I think it begins with a healthy concept, and your new health is your wealth.
So for kids, and this is a job for parents as well, I think the study is saying that if there's a lot of stress in the home, including the parent's job status, the parent's mental health, parents smoking, so all of that around your children can create a stressful environment for them, correct?
Well, absolutely, because we're role models. And so when our children are young, they're impressionable. One of the things that I got a big lesson early in evaluating how this heart disease starts so early. I had an internal medicine doctor refer a 13-year-old teenager for a heart scan. Now, that's not an everyday occurrence, and I asked the internal medicine doctor, why in the world would you be referring a 13-year-old teenager for a heart scan? And he explained to me, well, he may be 13 according to the birth certificate, but he has adult diseases. He's obese. He is diabetic because of his obesity. His obesity is because he's not physically active. And so when we did the heart scan, I was absolutely shocked. This 13-year-old teenager had plaque in his coronary arteries. And so the internal medicine doctor was so preventative and far-reaching that now he can take steps to teach this 13-year-old proper diet, proper body weight, and physical activity, so that this plaque does not grow and, in fact, may reverse and go away, and he can have a healthy adulthood.
All right, that is John Duncan with us here on the Kogo News Live Line. Thank you, John. He is a heart disease expert, the CEO of ViaScan, which is a company that specializes in the early detection of heart disease.
Kogo News.